If you get your Social Security check by direct deposit, and let's be honest, almost everyone does these days, there are three changes that have quietly rolled out this year that could catch you completely off guard. And I mean completely off guard, because most people find out about these the hard way, when their payment gets delayed or their account update gets rejected. Stick with me, because I'm going to walk you through all three, plainly, no jargon. And if this helps you avoid a headache down the road, subscribe, because this is exactly the kind of thing I cover here. Let's start with the first one, and honestly, this is the change that's caused the most confusion so far. For years, if you needed to update your bank information with Social Security, you could just pick up the phone, call them, and handle it in a few minutes. That's gone now. As of earlier this year, Social Security no longer allows you to update your direct deposit information solely over the phone. Instead, you now have to either verify your identity online through your personal My Social Security account, which involves a multi-step process to generate a one-time verification code, or you have to physically go into a local Social Security field office and handle it in person. Now, I want you to really think about who this affects the most. This isn't just an inconvenience for tech-savvy folks who don't mind an extra step online. For a lot of seniors, especially those in rural areas, or those who don't have reliable internet access, or those who simply aren't comfortable navigating verification codes and online accounts, this new requirement creates a real barrier. If your bank information is outdated or incorrect, and you can't easily update it, your payment can be delayed or held entirely. And that's not a small problem when you're depending on that check to cover rent or groceries. Social Security says this change is about preventing fraud and unauthorized account changes. And to be fair, that's a legitimate concern. But the trade-off is real too, because now a task that used to take a 5-minute phone call can turn into a multi-day process involving travel to an office or navigating a system that wasn't built with everyone in mind. So here's what you need to do if this applies to you. If you haven't already, set up your online My Social Security account now, before you actually need to make a change. Don't wait until you're in a rush to update your bank information because you switched banks or your account got compromised. Get that account set up today. Learn how the verification process works while there's no pressure. So when you do need to update something, you're not scrambling and stressed while your payment sits in limbo. Now, let's move to the second change. And this one is bigger than it might sound at first. Social Security has been actively transitioning away from paper checks entirely, pushing everyone toward fully electronic payments. If you're one of the increasingly small number of people still receiving a paper check in the mail each month, that option is disappearing. The reasoning behind this, according to Social Security's own numbers, is that printing and mailing a single paper check now costs around $3, which is roughly 20 times more expensive than simply processing an electronic transfer. From the government's perspective, this saves real money at scale, millions of dollars a year. But for the individual senior who's relied on that paper check showing up in their mailbox for decades, this is a genuine shift in how they access their own money. If you don't have a traditional bank account, you're not just out of luck here. Social Security does offer an alternative called Direct Express, which is a prepaid debit card program specifically designed for federal beneficiaries who don't have a bank account. Your payment gets loaded onto that card electronically each month instead of arriving as a paper check. And if you have a genuine reason you can't transition to electronic payments at all, whether that's a mental health concern, a disability, or living somewhere without reasonable access to a financial institution, you can actually request a waiver from this requirement. That waiver exists specifically because Social Security recognizes not everyone can make this switch easily, but you do have to know to ask for it, because it's not something that gets offered to you automatically. Here's the third change, and this one connects directly to how your bank actually handles the money once it lands in your account. There's a process called automated enrollment, sometimes shortened to ENR, that allows your bank to send your updated direct deposit information straight to Social Security electronically, without you needing to call or visit an office at all. This sounds like a convenience, and in many ways it is, but here's the catch. Not every bank participates in this program. If your bank doesn't offer it, you're stuck using the online verification process or an in-person visit I mentioned earlier, even if you assumed your bank would just handle it for you automatically. This is exactly the kind of detail that trips people up, because you might switch banks, assume everything transfers over smoothly, and then discover weeks later that your Social Security payment never actually followed you to the new account because your new bank doesn't support automated enrollment. So before you ever switch banks, or if you're not sure whether your current bank offers this, it's worth a quick call to ask directly. Don't assume. A 5-minute phone call to your bank now can save you a genuinely stressful situation involving a missed or delayed payment later. Now, here's something important I want to tie all three of these changes together with, because there's a common thread running through all of it. Every one of these changes shifts more responsibility onto you, the beneficiary, to be proactive. The old system, where you could just call, update your info, and move on with your day, is being replaced by a system that requires more verification, more digital literacy, and more advanced planning. That's not necessarily a bad thing on its own. Security matters, fraud prevention matters, but it does mean the margin for error has gotten smaller. Waiting until the last minute to handle any of this is a lot riskier than it used to be. So let me give you a simple game plan, because I don't want you leaving this video just worried. I want you leaving with something you can actually act on. First, set up your My Social Security online account today if you haven't already, and take a few minutes to understand how the identity verification process works before you're forced to use it under pressure. Second, if you're still receiving a paper check, look into either setting up direct deposit with a traditional bank account or enrolling in the Direct Express prepaid card program, because paper checks are on their way out, and you don't want to be caught scrambling when that transition becomes mandatory for your specific situation. Third, if you ever change banks, call ahead and confirm whether your new bank supports automated enrollment with Social Security, so your payments transfer smoothly instead of getting stuck in a gap between accounts. I also want to say this clearly, because I think it matters. None of these changes mean your money is somehow less safe once it's in your account, and none of them mean Social Security is trying to make your life harder on purpose. But they do mean the system now expects more from you up front. More verification, more advanced planning, less flexibility for last-minute changes. And honestly, the seniors who come out ahead here are the ones who get informed now, before there's a problem, not the ones who find out about these rules the hard way when a payment gets delayed and they're left wondering what happened. You've spent your whole life managing your own money, paying your bills on time, handling your finances responsibly. These new rules don't change that about you. They just change the process a little. And once you understand the process, none of this has to catch you off guard. Knowledge really is the difference here between a smooth transition and a stressful one. If this helped you understand what's actually changed, go ahead and subscribe, because I'm going to keep tracking updates like this and make sure you hear about them before they become a problem instead of after. And if you know someone, a parent, a neighbor, a friend, who's still relying on the old phone-based system or still getting a paper check every month, share this with them. A 5-minute heads up now could save them a genuinely frustrating situation down the road. You deserve to always know exactly what's happening with your own money, and that's what I'm here for.